Welcome to the sample project for working with audio clips on the timeline. When you reach the end of this tutorial, you should be able to complete the following tasks in Camtasia Studio. Open an additional audio track on the timeline, insert an audio file to be used as background music, adjust the volume level of audio on the timeline, and delete audio from the timeline. Once you've imported the Camtasia recording to the clip bin, right-click on the camera and choose Add to Timeline. In the Editing Dimensions dialog window, choose the Automatic Preset from the drop-down menu with dimensions of 640 by 360 and click OK. When you record audio along with your screen recording, it will be placed on the timeline with both the Video 1 and Audio 1 tracks linked together. This means that any editing that you do to one of these tracks will also be done to the other. It is possible to unlink these tracks by clicking this button, and I encourage you to play around with this feature on your own. You can also expand the Tracks menu and open 2 additional audio tracks on the timeline. These are great for adding additional voiceovers or inserting audio to use as background music. Let's practice adding some audio for background music and adjusting the volume levels. Click on the Library tab and then expand the Audio folder to see some audio files that come pre-installed with Camtasia Studio. Double-click on any of the audio files to hear a preview of the music. When you find your favorite, right-click on it and choose Add to either Audio 2 or Audio 3 from the menu. It doesn't matter which audio track, so just choose one that isn't being used yet. The audio will open on the new audio track, and depending on where your playhead was positioned, you may need to click and drag the audio clip to the beginning of the timeline. Zoom out on the timeline to see that the audio file is much longer than the rest of the video on the timeline, so let's make it the same length. There are a few different ways to do this, but the way I'll use is just grab the end of the audio clip and drag it back until it lines up with the end of the Video 1 and Audio 1 tracks. Now we need to adjust the volume level of the background music so that you can still easily hear the voice narration on audio track 1. Click on the Audio tab and both audio tracks turn green. If you need to see more of the timeline, hover your cursor over this line until you see a double arrow. Then drag to resize the viewing area of the timeline. Notice that the volume levels on both audio tracks are set to 100%. To decrease the volume level of the background music, click and drag the line at the top of the waveform. It turns red when you hover over it, down to about 20%. Then play back the video and listen to how it sounds with the voice narration. If it needs to be louder or quieter, click and adjust the volume level accordingly. If you look in the Audio tab, you'll see additional editing tools for adjusting the audio. Play around with each of these to see what happens. If you make a mistake, you can always click the Undo button. Note that if you make a selection on the timeline to edit just a portion of the audio track, be sure to lock the other track so it isn't affected. To delete an audio clip on the timeline, right-click the clip and choose Remove from Timeline. If you're looking for more information about working with audio on the timeline, I encourage you to check out the audio section in the help file. Now it's your turn to practice with audio in Camtasia Studio. If you haven't already, download the zip file and import the camera file into Camtasia Studio to practice everything covered in this tutorial. Thanks and good luck.